My name is Jennifer Campbell, and I'm the consulting manager here at Open Source Integrators. I'm here today with Greg Mader, who is the president of Open Source Integrators. Thanks for joining us, Greg.
Hi, thank you.
We're here today to talk about a customer that had a pretty intense situation where they needed to move from some very old legacy systems over to a very modern, very automated system to continue with their work and really to improve their safety and their management of inventory and assets. So Greg, I know you were heavily involved with that project. Would you like to give us a little summary of kind of how it started and our role in the project?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So this customer is a leader in the utility space here in the United States. They're a publicly traded utility. And there was, for some of their assets in the distribution as well as the transmission worlds, they were using completely manual systems with little tacked on bits of automation here and there. But the assets had manual maintenance schedules and very complicated safety and checks and surveys that were done on them. It was not up to standards, and it was really causing situations that were concerning to management because of the risks and consequences of those risks. And they were at a point where they knew they needed to make some big leaps in automation of that asset management, the safety and maintenance systems that went with it, and build a complete system that managed it both spatially as well as from an ERP side as well.
So with this project, we have our standard four-step process of first analyzing the situation, analyzing the customer, analyzing what software is the best fit, then moving on to an optimization step where we really start to look at business processes and where you can gain that business advantage you're looking for, as well as leveraging the software as much as possible, moving into automation, and then finally transition. So for this customer, the analysis stage, there was a lot of looking into the way that they had done business in the past, what type of areas really could just be cleared out entirely, where we needed to rebuild processes from scratch. So Greg, maybe you want to
Sure.
take us a little into detail there.
Yeah, on the analysis phase of this project, it really was a ground-up, complete re-engineering of what they'd been doing and why they'd been doing it for decades. As part of that analysis, there was also a way to lower risk was to do some proof of concepts or some pilot projects and test out different approaches for, can you replace this complete business system for maintenance, for example, or this complete business system for cathodic protection analysis or things along those lines. Mm-hmm. And by doing those sort of proof of concepts and deep business case analysis, they were able to make some pretty good decisions when we were ready to move to the next step. So,
right.
Yeah.
So that analysis really gave us the information needed to identify where we could, again, just completely clear out old ways of doing things, bring in brand new processes that were kind of starting from scratch, as well as identifying possibly areas that, you know, had worked well in the past, so you could take those areas and then just replicate it in the new software that was being built out. So that optimization step was really a great opportunity to revamp the way that they had been doing business. And of course, you know, that building into that automation and ultimately the transition of it, it again was a great opportunity, but also showed some distinct challenges that needed to be overcome as well.
Sure. For the optimization, what was really interesting was I think everybody had agenda. For the most part, people were able to take their agendas out, their personal feelings, and really focus on what was best for the organization and how to improve the safety and asset management of this organization. And there were decades of experience that came to every meeting and really talked about, this is the business result that we need, but we're open to suggestions
Right.
for how to get there. And that was a really important step, was to have that open mind and really discuss that during the optimization phase. To the automation phase, I'd like to jump into that a little bit because it was very involved, integrating an ERP system with a number of other systems to manage the assets spatially as well as through documents. And we took a completely open book approach to this as well too. It was what's the best solution that's available right now, whether we build it ourselves or whether it's a COTS solution. And it turned out to be a mix of different things that were in there. But what we were able to do is give like a seamless end-to-end view of all assets in the system and have a lot of flexibility built in for special cases or challenging situations that were kind of, I'd like to think, it didn't happen that often, but actually happened regularly. We need to always think about these special cases.
Yes.
So that automation was long and involved. It took a lot of time to get it right. We had deep UAT testing, user acceptance testing, and a deep effort at transitioning systems and making sure that the go live was going to be successful. And Jen was one of the leads on the transition. So Jen, what was that like? How did you do it, and what were the results of the transition?
Sure. Well, again, with every step of this project, it was highly involved with a lot of detailed steps there. So it was the same thing with the transition step. So there, it ranged everywhere from very formalized training all the way down to personal one-on-one, expert with user coaching the day that they start using that software. So it really spanned the whole range of areas that, things that you could do for helping with transition. We did that. So yes, I was involved with, building the training materials, and then with actually execution of, giving the training to the users, then moving on to, checking in with them and making sure everyone's ready for when the go live date happened, and then finally being on site to help answer questions, help guide them through the software, and remind them of what they learned during the training session. So all of those steps were, had a play in the transition step, and ultimately, even the most resistant team members through that careful process started to warm up to the software. So, there were some team members that, despite the training, despite the, coaching and check-ins, when the day came that they had to use it for the first time, they still were hesitant, nervous, just kind of closed off. But through that one-on-one interaction and, really giving them the support they needed and reminding them everything they learned, telling them it was going to be okay, everyone eventually warmed up, and the result was a successful software rollout, and you could see the business advantage that was starting to show through once this system was in place, giving that safer environment, that safer product that the customer was ultimately looking for.
I think you captured a lot in there, Jen. The team members at the client company really, I think, stepped up and were heroic in the efforts of trying to address some long-term shortcomings and think about what does the future look like and why do we need to be a part of it. And it really did create a better business environment when this was done, and has brought the team to a place of a new, stable, solid platform that isn't reliant on tribal knowledge and
Right.
Happenstance like the old system was. So it was really a case of doing a project the right way by being disciplined and holding ourselves accountable as a complete team. We were really able to build something remarkable together, I think.
Yes, and I think you hit that on the head. It was the heroism of the team that really projected this massive, massive project to be as successful as it was. So really a lot of credit goes out to the company himself, the team members of that company that made it happen.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Greg, for chatting with me today, and thank you for joining our webinar. Please remember to go online and visit us on our website at opensourceintegrators.com. If you do that, you'll see plenty more webinars and lots more information to learn about everything we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.